Just we are getting what 404. We have means whenever we are using what path parameter, every argument must be passed, otherwise we will get what 404, right? So now again I'm sending what 101, again what I'm sending what Pankaj. Pankaj, now salary is 60,000, right? 60,000. Now enter that. See, we are getting the result or not. So same like, right? So this is what this application is behaving without what configuration. But if we want here, what we did, right? Based on if we want to change, right? E name, EID, EMP with the annotation. So how we will do that, right? How we will do that? But let's understand one things, right? So if we want to change, right, using annotation in the entity class only, we want our own choice. Here emp id we are getting, right? Here emp name we are getting, right? Here emp style we are getting, right? Why we are getting? Because come to entity class, right? Because of that, this by default, right, this is the what by default name is giving whatever we took attribute inside what employee class. So no, we want our own, right? We don't want this in attribute on what browser. We want our own attribute. So if we want our own attribute, so Jersey people is given what? Jersey people given what? uh, uh, Annotations, right? Jersey people given annotation. That annotation, if you what place on the what that attribute, just at the rate what at the rate JSON property, right? JSON property, yes, JSON property. In that, if you don't want EMP ID, see on the browser, EMP ID, right? EMP ID. If you don't want, you want what our own name, right? Our own name. So what? Just JSON property. You have to take what JSON property. In that, you have to pass what, right? Employee, EMPLOY, employee underscore id. I want like this, right? Again, right? Again, what we again another again what here also, right? Here also what we will pass it, right? So same property we will take at the rate what JSON, at the rate JSON, right? JSON property, right? At the rate JSON property. In that, what we will EMPLOY, employee name, right? Employee name, I want this property, right? Here employee salary at the rate JSON property, right? At the rate JSON property. In that, I want what? Employee what? Employee underscore salary, employee underscore salary. So here previously what we are getting, emp sal, emp name, and emp what? Emp id on the browser, right? See, emp name, emp id, emp name, emp sale. Now again, now what we will get? Employee id, employee name, employee salary, right? So this is a little bit readable format. We will get the JSON data in the readable format. So let's run the application and we will see that we are getting the result as expected or not to placing this annotation. So now let's refresh it and make the request and see that. Actually server is still not totally run because of that taking. Server is running mode now. Yeah, come to browser. See, now we are getting, because of that annotation, we are getting what? Emp id, right? Emp name, right? Employee salary, right? Attribute name, we are getting our own choice name or not. So same like, right? So same like. But if you want, right, if you want what? But if you want with our own, see here id you don't want. Here you want what? Employee name, employee salary, then you want employee id on what? In the JSON data. Then what you will do? Now we will go inside that what? Entity class. There is nothing, there is no need to change here, right? There is no need to change much things inside what? Provider class, right? Just entity, go inside that entity class and go on top of what? That class name, right? That class, right? So just in that, what you will do? JSON property order annotation is there, right? JSON JSON property order annotation is there, right? In that, what we will do now, just we will pass the order, right? Just what we will do now, we will pass that order inside what? Inside what? JSON property, right? So this is what? This one also what? This one also what? Array type, right? So in that what we will do now? First we want what? Employee salary, right? First we want employee salary. So what we will do now, we will paste it, right? Now again after then I want what? EMP name, right? After then I want EMP name. Now paste it. After then if you want after then I want EMP ID, right? After then I want EMP ID. So what we will do now, again employee ID also. This is what we will use based on the JSON property order. Now let's run it. So now see on the browser, employee ID by default we are getting what? In the sequential order, right? EMP ID, e name, and what? EMP salary. But now we customize it, right? This property we customize based on what? This JSON property order. Now let's see that we are getting the result as expected or not. Let's see that result we are getting as expected or not. Now run it. Yeah, see previously we are getting EMP ID, EMP name, and EMP cell. Now we are getting what? EMP cell, EMP name, and EMP ID last, right? How we given order in the what? In the order annotation, right? In the order annotation, based on this order annotation we are getting the result or not. So in the real time we are this coding we are using in the real time, right? Because of that previous in the previous session I stressed those things, right? So now we are getting just what? See, we are getting based on what? Order method, right? So same things, but a JSON transient one annotation is there, right? If you want to ignore this property in any property, if you want to ignore it, I don't want a salary, right, to show in JSON data, right? In I don't want on to show the that property will be there inside what? Entity class, right? Entity class. But I don't want in the JSON to participate that attribute. So what we will do now, at the rate we will use what? At the rate JSON, at the rate JSON transient, right? At the rate JSON transient annotation. JSON transient annotation we are not getting. Why? 1 minute. Yeah, JSON ignore it, right? JSON ignore annotation is there, right? So now JSON ignore annotation, sorry for that. So now what we will do now, again let's run the application and we will see that. EMP cell, EMP name, EMP ID. Yeah, we the annotation is ignored, but you know the by default, right? By default name is coming still. Why it's not? Total data we have need to remove, right? Why we are not getting the total? Just this one, what it's not participating, but the actual name, right? Actual name, what we took here, actual JSON ignore, based on JSON ignore. Okay, we will apply what before here. Let's see that. Now make the request. Still it's participating, right? It should not be participate. Why it's not working? Okay, okay, we will see later, right? Actually, this annotation is not working as expected. So based on the annotation, right? Annotation, we are what ignoring the things, right? Ignoring the things to participate in the JSON data. We are not in the real time, right? After writing what endpoint, after writing endpoint, just we are returning back the data, right? Because of that, we are using whatever things we have need to perform. Those things we are performing inside that entity class only, using what annotation, right? JSON annotation. And to perform these annotation, because of that, in the dependency, right, in the dependency I kept what this what Jackson annotation dependency I kept. Because of that, in that dependency, all annotation is there to work on JSON data, right? So this is like that, this in the real time we are configuring, right? So now let's understand. Now, till now, anybody having any doubt, let me know that, right? Again, if anybody, so if you want, let's see the make the request, right? Make the request on browser, from what? mm, Postman. Postman, let's see that from there also. Control V. Now get type na, let's make the request. Hey, server is stop mode. Yeah. Now run the application. Yeah, pretty print view, pretty print view. See, we are getting the data in the what JSON format, right? JSON format are not here also same. So same like this, we are performing the things in what real time, and whatever things is there, right? Whatever things is there, just we are using the annotation we are performing in entity class only. If need too much, just here from here we are returning the in the resource in point, just we are returning what data only. Other things we are writing the our service class are direct in entity class using annotations, right, in the real time. So till now, if anybody having doubt, you can ask, right? I will give the reply. And again, we will work on what context data in rest. We will understand the things how we will read the data from what context memory. After then we will implement what dynamic, which is security, dynamic security, right, which is working using what rest filter. Using rest filter we will develop data, and that application is too big, right? We have need too much patience. Plus because I will use total whatever till now I explain, right? All concept I will use in that project. And that project even near about 1,000 line code will be go, 1,000 to 2,000 also, right? Not 1,000 only, 2,000 code will go. So now, because of, but one more concept is there. What context memory, right? In the web, what is the context memory, how we will read the data, those things we will see that. Then we will what develop one what dynamic web application, and using what spring rest security, right? So that is also real things only. And if, till now, if anybody having any doubt, let me know that, right? Let me know that. Chandan, Pankaj, Sai. Hey Sai, good
No
afternoon.
doubt, Ravi, no doubt.
So whatever things, without web.xml, right? Today, without web.xml, I wrote what Java code and I configure that. So still anybody having doubt, so let me know that I will explain again. Hey Sai, good afternoon, Sai.
Sir, Ravikant, good afternoon. How are you, man?
Fine, fine, fine. Now whatever things I explained, you got it or not the point?
Yeah, easily I got it.
Then fine. And Amit now. Oh, Amit, I think left now. Just now. Uh,
No, 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 no.
Now you got it the point, Amit.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So let's see the context memory, right? Context memory in REST, right? Context memory, and why we are using that, and why we are using, and what is the need to context memory. First, so whenever we are performing, right? Mean whenever we are working on that. What Servlet component, a web component, right? So whenever we are working, there are two kind of memory, right? Local memory and a global memory. Global memory is called what? Context memory, right? So in that context memory, some metadata will create, right? Like a request URL, URI is there, right? URL resource, and whatever the useful methods is there. And even I explain what header param. Whenever we are making the request having two part, head part and the body part. In head part, what data is there? In the body part, just we analyze it as a diagrammatically, right? But let's see that, right? Let's first see that how we read that metadata in that, from the header, from the request header, from the request. And how we will see that in the our resource, what is the URL path and what is the URI. All those things we will see here, right? Based on the URI and the URL, right? And the header memory, and how much length is there. Based on that, what we will do now, we will see that, right? We will implement what next, what REST security using filter concept. So here there is no need to explain what there is no need to explain much. Just we will create one web application, and we will see that what is the URL, what is the URI. Directly REST people will, means REST API will expose that data, right? And we will see that, and we will analyze that, right? The those things. So I'm not going to create another project. In this project only, what I'm going to do now, I'm just creating one more resource, right? I'm just going to create one more resource, where one more resource, what inside that message provider is there, right? So I'm going to create one class, right? Inside that, what I'm doing, that context data. Just I'm taking what? Context data class name, right? So we know that if we want to make that at the rate, what? At the rate path, right? At the rate path, in the path, right? What we will do now, in this path, just what I'm doing, that cont cnxt just I'm context, right? So after, then let's write. So what we will do now, we will make one, we will take what? Public string, just I'm returning string, get data, right? I will show that every this resource information, how we are getting that, right? How we will get, using what? The method, using methods, right? Return what? Return what? Just I'm returning here. Yeah, show data, right? Show data. Just I returned here what? Show data. Now in show data, yeah, just I'm returning what? Show data. Now, so we know that if we use in our web dot in web sorry, in web API, if we use SOPLN, right? So those things will we be able to see, where we will be able to see, where we will able to see on the console, right? On the server console. So let's just at the rate path, here also I'm taking what? Path. In that I'm taking what? Slash msg, right? Msg. So I want to make this at the rate get, right? I want to make as a at the rate get, right? So I made what get. So in that again, what we will do now, if we want to read what get context memory data, right? So we have what one more annotation in the rest at the rate context, right? At the rate context, we have to need to apply this what annotation, right? After then I want to read what HTTP servlet request, whatever request we are making from the browser, right? It's going to server, right? So we have need to read information about what this request. So if we want to if we want to read information this request, so for that the method is there, right? Request http servlet request, servlet request, right? Servlet request based on that what just req request I'm taking, right? So I take and I applied what I applied at the rate context, right? So based on this annotation what we may be able to read information about whatever request inside the request methodology things is there, we can able to read it, right? So same like if we want to what resource information means we want to read what is method is there inside our own, means whatever we are writing the API, all those things treated as what resource only in the RESTful. So if we want to see that what get data means this method resource is what get method method name. If you want to read, if we want to read which kind of methodology we are making, right? Which message, which path we pass, message and context, so those information if we want, right? So those information, so resource info method is there. Resource what resource info, right? Resource info. Now resource resource info, right? Resource info. So now if we want to work this, right? So we apply again at the rate context annotation here also, right? After applying this at the rate context, right? Again if we want, right? If we want to URL information, right? If we want to read this URL, right? From this is called what, this is called what, this is called what URL, right? This is called what URL information. If we want to, if we want what is the URL in this request, what is the URI in this request, right? So if we want to read this information, right? So for this we have what, so for these we have what URI info method, right? URI URL URI info method is there, right? URI info method there. In that what again what we will do now, we will apply this at the rate context, right? At the rate, this one is too much see here just we are going to see metadata about all those things, right? But I will apply these things inside what rest security. Because of that I'm stressing here, right? And there is no I can directly use there, right? But if I use there you people will not understand. Because of that what I'm explaining here, right? So now what we will do now, again what, again if we want to header, we initially we understood, right? So whenever we are making the request, right? Whenever we are making the request having two part, right? Header part and a body part, right? Header part and a body part. So if we want to read request header information and a body information, to apply what, for that, to for that what method is there? HTTP headers there. HTTP what, HTTP header is there, right? HTTP what, header is there. Header is there, right? Head, just I'm taking. Now what we will do now, again we will pass it, right? Again we will pass it what, at the rate what, at the rate context, right? At the rate context. See here little bit it's look like boring, but when I will use in the security, right, then you people will understand about whatever things I'm explaining here, right? So don't worry about that. These things we are going to use in future, right? So because of that I'm explaining here. Please listen, be carefully. These things, whatever things I'm explaining, each and everything I will implement in the security. And a security project will going to near about 2000 line code I will write, right? So let's see that, right? So just we what to take attribute based on that this method this based on that this what reference attribute, we will see that yeah, we are be able to read the data or not from where to where, right? So now, so first what we will just, we will let's make the request. First let's make the request, and we see the still we not get anything, right? Still just we see the data, right? Show data on what browser. So yeah, so let's go on what, let's go on what, here, here message till here, let's remove it here, right? So in the rest is common for both class, right? Rest is common for both class. C and t, C and xt is there, right? Here C and xt is there. Now copy this one, paste it, and a message. Now make hello, so data we got it now. So let's read and see that we are we able to read the data from what context memory and other places, whatever things is there, right? So now let's first read the information about http request, whatever request we are making from what browser. Let's read it, and we will see. So just nothing we will do, I just use what sopln sys out, right? We will see on what console. So if we want to request URI, right? URI means what, you know, the we are making from here to here, right? URI means application provider message, REST context message. This is what URI, and total is called what URL. So shall we see the URI of this application now? So if we want to see the URI of this application, just what we take the reference name here, request, right? So we will take request, just request dot what, request dot what, get what, get get request URI, right? Get request URI, right? Request URI, and again as well as we want to see the URL also, right? So sys out, right? Just I'm writing request dot get what, request URL, right? Get request URL, both I took, right? Now just yeah, so let's run this, and we will see the information. We are getting the metadata about our request or not. How we are able to read the metadata about what our URL information. Just make again request, right? From here. Yeah, we make, and we got it now. Let's observe the console. See, come to here, right? I said that, right? URI. See, from web application, I said that this is be able to read or not. This is what? This is what our URL. This is our what URL. This is what totally URL, and from here to here, if anybody asks what is URL and what is URI, you people will able to say or not. Ki total URL and URI combination is called what? URL, right? And URI just means URI. So total means what? Port number, in which port number our web application is running, protocol port number plus what? Resource what address. Together we are saying that what URL, and just web context, web application context name, and what resources name is called what URIs, like. So now we able to read it or not? So now okay, so we read what in the context date, in the context what context class, what we able to read http request related things or not. So many things is there, but whatever useful for us to develop what rest security, just those things I explained here. Now resource information, let's see that this get method, what is the resources in the our resource, what is the information is there, right? So let's get what method. So let's read this method, right? Using what? Using what? This resource information. So what we will do now, let's sys out request dot, right? Request dot get what, get resource, get resource what, resource method. Just I want to read this method, get data, right? Get data method, right? So what we will do, resource get resource, right? R, sorry, I'm using request. No, what is that resource information? I took this one, right? So we have need to take this one. Now get what? Get resource method. Just I'm taking what? So if we apply that, right, we will get what? This get data, get method name, it will show that, right? Now, okay, I want what? Which kind of, on this method, which kind of methodology, means we are using get type, right? So if we want to see that resource information, which kind of methodology we are using, so we will use that method, right? Which one? res info dot get what? Get resource get resource dot what? Get resource dot get annotation, right? Get annotation method is there, right? Get annotation. And see, two, I applied what? Two, one at the one message at what? See, at the get methodology on top of what? Get method. And another one is what? Another one is what? Message also, right? So both if you want. So first one, it will show in the index of 0. So what we will do now, we will do as what? We will pass as array argument as a 0 index, right? Here get annotation, here annotations we will use. Yeah. So again, right, again what we will do now? Sysout, right? Sysout request information, right? Dot get what? Get a resource method. Again what? Dot get annotation. Again get annotations, right? Get annotation. Now again I will take first index, right? What is that? In the first index what is there, and the second index what is there? Now let's run the application and we will see, as expected, we are getting the metadata or not. So let's see that, right? So now run this application. Yeah, come to console and see get method in where public class lang string rk. In this context, what get show method is there or not? See what we took in the resource get method, right? After then second one is what? Let's see that second, based on the path, right? Value and a message, right? What we took in the index number one, what message? See in the path message we seen, able to see or not? Now let's see in the first index, right? What is that in the first index? Which kind of? The first index, this is what? This is the first in yeah, this is the 0 index, and this is what? First index. Which kind of request we make? Get type. So we able to read like this. We are reading the metadata from what? HTTP request and what? Our resource information, right? So now let's see, we know that, right? So in the web application, absolute URL is there, right? Absolute URL is there, and exact URL and absolute URL, which is called absolute URL, means total path, right? So how we will read what path, right? How we will use, will read what? Absolute URL. And query parameter, path parameter is there, right? So let's see that, right? Let's see that those information also. Just let's see that those information. So if we want to perform those information, right, so we will use what? URI information, right? URI information. So if we want URI information, means what? Last from here, application to rest, right? Rest context message. From be able to read what? Just our application context data, right? Application means application global data, means application global information, right? So let's see that we are able to read it now or not. So now if we want to read that information, right, so what we will do now? So what we will do now, let's read it, right? Now sys out. So again, what we will take URI, right? URI, we will take URI now, URI dot get, right? URI now, just we want to get path, right? I want total path of application, right? So based on this method, we will get path means what? Path means what? This one, total URL information, right? So now again what? Again, absolute URL, what is if we want to see our application absolute URL, right? URI dot what? Get what? Get absolute, right? Absolute URL path method is there. If we apply that, we will get what? Absolute URL path also, right? URI get base URI. If you want base URI means, you know what? Just we want what? Message this one, right? Base URI, this is called what? Base URI. If we want to this URI method information, right? So we will apply that what? Sysout URI dot what? Get URI what? Get base, right? Base URI, right? After then again if we want to see in which format, see path parameter, query parameter, in which format we are making the request from what? URL. So if we want to see that information, right? So what we will take? Sysout dot URI, right? URI dot get what? Get path, get path parameter, right? Get path parameter. Now if we want to see is any parameter, query parameter also there. So if we want to see that, URI dot what? URI dot get what? Get what? Query parameter, right? We will apply this method also, right? After then query get means segment, in which segment our application is running, right? Segment, if we want to see that, right? Segment, so URI dot get segment, right? URI dot get segment, the method we will apply that method, right? Get path segment, right? Get what? Path segment, right? So based on this, so like this we will see the information about what? Path. So shall we see that? And whatever our explanation is there, everything is as expected or not? So now let's run this application, make the request here. Yeah, come to console and see that information, right? See, context base, we got it or not? Get base what? Base, we got it, base path or not? Now again absolute URL, total URL is called what? Absolute URL, we got it or not? After then base URI, we need what? Base URI means total, we got the base URI or not? This